Hello and welcome back to Thoughts from a Cluttered Mind. There were no comments in the last video, so there shall be no video pertaining to it, nor shall I make some comments about it. So, let's get into today's topic. Today's topic I decided would be upon the belief of spirits and ghosts. I myself have the viewpoint of everything is possible, just limited probability. However, my personal life experiences have led me to actually believe in them. Now, when I say spirits and I say ghosts, I view them as two separate entities. There are spirits which are in the natural world, like the sort of sixth sense animals have for things, along with animals and nature and things of that nature, spirit. Along with the, I believe people that are into ghosts call them poltergeists. I do not view these things to be humanoid. I view them to be an entity that was never a part of a human and therefore are more spirit. Perhaps they were just never meant to be. People view them as demonics and things of that nature. Elementals, perhaps, things of that nature. They're just spirit. They are never corporeal, and some of them are just bad. Now, that being said, my viewpoint upon ghosts is that each of us have something extra. We are not just flesh and blood. There is a other component there. People that have their limbs removed, they can still say they can feel it. The phantom limb syndrome, which is that your body is more than flesh and blood. You have something extra, and people say it is this that is the soul that goes on to the afterlife. And perhaps it is. I don't know which afterlife theory is correct, otherwise known as religion. I choose to accept them all, and when I die, which is inevitable, I'll decide then and there what to believe, because as long as as I mentioned in religion, a good person, I think that the good result shall occur. But anyway, now, as I mentioned, we all have a spiritual component, a ghost, if you will, soul. So, therefore, if we if we die in a drastic way, something that is traumatizing perhaps, or unexpected, or even if we can't let go, the ideal of having unfinished business is something that people claim to when it comes to a ghost. So therefore, they all think that ghosts are there because they want something. They choose to stay. Well, let me explain. I think that there are two separate categories of ghosts. There is a residual, which is the heated emotion. Two people get into a fight and one kills the other one. The person that dies, perhaps they do pass on, but the residual, the heated emotion, the strong physical activity, the dying while having sex, so anything could leave a residual emotionally charged event that could have lasting effects on an area. A battlefield, for instance, very, very, very charged emotionally. And I feel that that could potentially have a residual sort of effect, where these people are not actually there. They have gone on to whichever place that they go, whatever place we go, and it is the emotional residue, the ambient heat of a light that's in that area. And they may interact with things, as in manipulating objects, being that it was a cannon, perhaps with the battlefield analogy, that was in that area, and manipulating it as if it was a cannon, but not actually seeing or knowing what is going on around them. Sort of just a picture. Moving around picture, so more like a video, I suppose, would be a better way of saying it. That just has sound, but perhaps visual, perhaps feel to it even in some instances, but isn't actually corporeal in the fact of it's not residual person, it's more of a residual emotion. Now that's my viewpoint upon those sort of things, of the haunting of rooms and things. Now, there are instances of a person, an actual living person that has passed on, and for whatever reason, be it unfinished business, be it a desire just not to die, just not understanding why, confusion, any sort of things could contribute to it, and that was my phone. There could be any sort of ideal that would hold them to it, a particular area, particular place, particular item, and for whatever reason they just can't let go. And it's these people that are the intelligent hauntings, the intelligent ghosts, the ones that can contribute to actual interactions with things, the registering of different people, different locations, different events, perhaps even different time, and manipulate things intelligently. They understand a comb to be a comb and attempt to brush their hair. They understand what a bed is and try to lay down. They could be in any number of things. I am really popular and people are trying to get a hold of me. I apologize for this. Anyway, there are intelligent haunts which people that have passed on have something that is tying them there. They just choose to stay. And it's perhaps they're in a sort of separate dimension as us, perhaps they're in the same plane of existence of us, but somehow askew. The physical has left, and all that remains is this ether stuff. And they can try and do what they can to try and figure things out for themselves, but ultimately they're stuck. And I don't know about you, but constantly shouting at a wall where you see people standing and having no one notice you would make you quite upset. And then again leads back to the ideal of a poltergeist, which intelligent haunts can be. They can be upset just like any other person. And that's where you hear these instances of people getting scratched, pushed, pulled, stuff like that. So ultimately my viewpoint on the supernatural when it comes to spirits being the stuff of the animal world, the elemental things, the people call them demonic, being that they just never were in a body, just some floating around thing that is malicious and violent. It's possible. And when it comes to the human aspect, we are a part of that. People like to think of us as an entirely new species, but we are just an animal. We're a higher thinking animal, but we still are. There's still a part of us that links us to this world. And I think it's that is the spirit stuff that leaves these ghosts if we cannot choose to let go when we die. And the residual wiping off of hundreds upon thousands of heated emotional aspects could leave residue, which would be these residual, like, pictures, movies, whatever going on in these areas. And ultimately, when it comes to the fact that they exist, having an understanding of what they are and trying to live with it peacefully is the best option. However, sometimes people have issues, and that's not an option. Which in that case, there's a lot of options available to you. You can, depend upon religion, there's 100 different things. Hanging mirrors in windows facing outward, putting crucifixes or other holy objects around the house, which don't mean anything unless you actually have faith. An object is just an object unless you believe in it. It's your faith that empowers something. Burning sage, salt, the purity of salt would be a good thing to fight as well. Cold iron, another pure substance. Things like that could potentially help you if you wish to combat. But you're combating something that is old. Do not try and do it alone. It's better to try and make peace in the living and in the afterworld. Because ultimately, you would rather be on friendly terms with your neighbor than constantly pounding on the wall with each other, wouldn't you? That's my thoughts about it. Thank you for watching. Comment below and I will respond to it. Thank you so much and have a nice day. Bye.